The Star.
Yeah, y'all already know. Seven the pan. That dude Biz on the beat. Yeah. We live in entertainment. Sound change. Crown the kings, homie. This is where it get ill. About to have the tip off live as a tip drill. From the court to the diamond, to the track, to the big skin flying round the field. Starting five forever, keeping it real. If it matters in the world of sports, jeans and long sleeves, they taking no shorts. Hot to death, oh yes, these other sports podcasts live as a pros course. Biz market wave, the starting five goes off. No matter who you cheer for, emotions out the window, they analyzing with clear thoughts. They take it way deeper than the boys ever. No longer got any use for the four letters. The latest news, score stats and the view from the sideline. Ain't no guideline, it's just the truth. Yeah, no need to dig for a pardon line. It's always in season if people start five. We going in on three, run the baseline, start five, get it. We got what you need. If it's sports news you see, we don't waste time. We talking cause we live it. We got what you need. We going in on three, run the baseline, start five, get it. We got what you need. And y'all know me, seven sign, I'm the illest cat stick. I got what you need.
We are back, y'all. Back with more of what y'all need. As always, each and every week. As long as we remember to fucking get on each and every week. This your boy, the mayor. That DJ named H5. Your mom's favorite fat guy all the way from sunny Africa today. No deep one. It's not. I mean, even though Staten Island is deepest, darkest, everything. We back. Newest episode of Star 5. My man's to the
right. What's good, y'all? Pardon the wind. It's windy as fuck out here. I don't know what's going on. Besides that, it's a beautiful day outside to have a cigar, a drink, and chop up the bullshit with my boy, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Dan Dinkins. What's good, Playboy? How you been?
Chilling, man. Chilling. Just getting, trying to get life back in order. Birthday coming in, 2 weeks? Ain't really doing shit. Just getting shit back in order. Like the wife got me back in the gym this morning. So just had to take the slow steps with doing that because I wanted to get back in. And get to where I should have been in life, get to where I needed to be in life, which was way more swole than just fat. You know what I'm saying? Just way more swole than fatness. And yeah, I mean, so it's slow steps. Get just first day back. So I know tomorrow, even with lightweight and high reps like I did today, it's going to be it's gonna hurt still.
It's gonna hurt. But, it's a good hurt though. It's a good hurt.
But how about yourself? While I bring our guest in right after you.
Before we get started with anything, I gotta give my mom's a big happy birthday shout out. Yesterday was her birthday.
Happy birthday, missus.
So shout out to her, and one of the main reasons I'm here. So happy for that.
It's one half of the equation.
Yeah. You can't give them all the credit.
Yeah.
But most of it. She's enjoying her weekend. Pop Dukes took care of her this weekend, so it's been all love. So no complaints.
Good.
My brother's birthday's tomorrow. I got a nice throwback picture I'm gonna put up on the page.
Peace to the brother Chris. Early happy birthday shouts out to you.
I'm sure he'll enjoy that.
But let's start without further ado. Let me get rid of this banner so we can see the brother's name. I've been interacting with this brother here via his page on TikTok recently, and as I keep telling y'all, TikTok has been my shit. I've been staying away from Facebook for a minute. Good brother in hip hop. I mean, like his content. Him and another brother on TikTok, they Mr. White, like they been keeping me on my toes. And y'all out there, y'all know I know my shit. Y'all know slightly a bit of my resume in the culture or whatever. But this brother right here has been phenomenal on TikTok. So this week's topic it was like I have to get him on because the topic that he brought at the time, which we're going to get into in a little while, it's been blowing up all over TikTok. A lot of blasphemy, a lot of great points, but nonetheless, I gotta say, peace to my Eagles brother in right here. He didn't even he knew we was connected, but we connected.
Already.
My man Source, of course, from the Source and Co podcast. What's good brother?
What's up, bro? How you feeling?
We good. Say what's up to my man TJ, who's one of my partners and unfortunate Giants fan.
TJ.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm
Good.
enjoying this weather and the cigar. Glad to meet you, though, sir.
You too. Thank you. Thank y'all for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely.
We appreciate you coming on.
First thing I wanted to do before we get into our main course, and generally we do games of the week. We're gonna run with that with the NBA this week. I'll explain how that goes in a second. But first and foremost, we got to give rest in peace condolences to Demaryius Thomas at 33 years old. I didn't realize, I actually forgot the brother shares a birthday with me. He was about to turn 34 on Christmas Day, the same day I turned 42. Just before. That shit sucks, man. And they said that they found him in his home in Georgia. I believe I seen something where his mom mentioned something about possible seizure, maybe, or something like that, man. So condolences to Demaryius, man. Like Source, man. Like I mean, the brother was a bad brother on the field, man. What do you remember of this young boy, this kid in this game, man?
I just remember him being a big target, a big and fast target. Kind of like I don't want to compare him to DK Metcalf, but kind of like DK Metcalf in a way. Big guy with speed, a main target for Peyton in his Broncos days, and yeah, he was a problem on the field. And I think he went through some injury stuff, which kind of derailed his career. And I just saw the mention of him retiring. I didn't even realize he had retired, but I just saw that after he passed the other day. So definitely rest in peace to that man.
Yeah, man. TJ.
10 years in the league, 5-time Pro Bowler, and a Super Bowl champ. And the dude was a problem. Like Source said, he was a problem on the outside. He was very fast. He's sort of like these new tight ends coming up, big, wide, rangy guys, over 6 feet, 6'3", 6'4", and with the 440 type speed. He was a prototype at the time, and he was very hard to stop. I mean, he would catch the ball at its apex, and he could outrun you if it was a foot race. He wasn't catching him, especially across the middle. He had so many big plays across the middle. He was a great player. Helped me a lot in fantasy football when I had him. So
Word. Word. And the way you mentioned him, like, I mean, he had a build. It looked like he had a build of a tight end, but the man was a wide receiver.
Yeah, he was definitely a big ass wide receiver. Yeah. The dude was huge.
And he is the dude. He is the one whose mom and grandma was locked up, right? Mom and grandma was locked up to get for years. I'm trying to remember.
I'd have to
I feel like it is. Actually, I'm gonna look it up real quick. since I'm on the laptop now, that's the only way I could get in because my phone wouldn't let me in. At least I
just bugged out, but yeah, man, look that up, man. But nonetheless, man, rest in peace to Demaryius Thomas. And I mean, the kid definitely was phenomenal on the field, a nuisance to many. Like TJ said. I mean, year in and year out, like sometimes you didn't know what he was going to get from him in fantasy, but he would either help you win leagues or due to injury, unfortunately, you would, I wouldn't blame it on him to lose leagues, but he seemed like he was a phenomenal person off the field too and all that, man. And
that's what I was about to say, a guy who didn't cause trouble. Like you never heard about him with no beef or, domestic problems or anything like that. He was a solid character. You know what I'm saying? A very solid dude.
He was the one. His mom and grandma were both locked up. I think they had a drug ring.
Oh,
they were involved in a drug ring.
You're right, out of the house, out of the grandmother's house or something like that.
Yeah, when he was little.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah,
crazy.
That was rough.
It's definitely some rough life shit, man. But everybody kind of goes through it somehow, some way, whether it's that or not. And it sucks. It sucks to hear a young man like this. Again, I got a Christmas brother, man. Like you, TJ, you know, Christmas is all around my shit, man. Like myself, my kids, my father, like yeah, like and to know that this dude was same birthday as me, but just much younger, man. It's right before. That's the right before the birthday too. Like that's the hard thing. Like he didn't even get to make it to 34, man. That's rough. That's rough, man. But nonetheless, condolences to Demarius and his family and all that, man. The Broncos family, NFL family, who was considered him friends or whatever, man. Tough one. Definitely during the holiday season, man. Sucks. I mean, we all got to go, but we all don't want to have to lose anybody. You know, you get what I'm saying? We all got to go, but we don't want to have to lose anybody. But nonetheless, we got to get off of that real quick, and we're just gonna run through the games of the week before we get to know our good brother Sauce, of course. Games of the week, we're gonna just keep it between us three. Sauce, this is how we've been doing it now. We're kind of sticking towards the NBA because normally this is the Sunday watch along with the football games. Now we used to pick what we thought was the game of the week. Now we're just kind of sticking with the NBA until the season ends, or say we record earlier. But so pick a day of the week. You pick a day of the week, starting from Monday to next Saturday, and I'll read off the day's games, and you tell us and the people why you think that game should be the must-watch game of the week for you.
Okay.
So pick a day of the week, unless you got a game already.
I don't have a game. Let's say Tuesday. Tuesday's usually full slate.
Okay, so Tuesday we got the Raptors versus the Nets, Warriors versus our Knicks. Ours meaning TJ and I's Knicks, but Pistons Bulls, Suns Trailblazers. Those are the games.
Do I pick the game?
Yeah, you pick the game.
Oh, I'm definitely picking the next game since y'all both like them.
Okay.
You picking them to win?
No, I'm not sure. Look, I forgot that quick. You said Golden State.
Golden State versus versus New York Knicks.
Yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem. What happened? What happened? Y'all was looking so good out the gate, like y'all were at the top of the East, and now y'all are what, 12 and 14.
Yeah, you said it right. You're getting handed by the Bucks as we speak.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, 61-48 at the half. It's not looking good.
And I didn't like
people outdo them.
I didn't like the
COVID protocol too.
I didn't like the disrespect that I seen by fucking Benny the Bull on TikTok, because that motherfucker, he put up a video showing talking about the New York Knicks, and then walks up to a trash can and saying that was the representation of the Knicks.
Wow.
And I immediately was like, yo, fuck you, Benny. Like, fuck you, Benny. But yeah, our Knicks are having a rough go, but that's just kind of been the New York way for the past few years. It's either up and down. I mean, we're still a young team. You know, Julius Randle still got a lot more to go as far as developing. Just the team still has a lot more to go as in gelling, and I don't expect the ass whooping from the Warriors, but I expect us to at least get beat by 10.
That's fair enough. That's fair. Y'all at the crib, you said, right? It was Golden State going to
Yeah.
Yeah,
we suck at the crib right now, though. We play better on the road for some reason.
Well, Golden State is a super problem. That's without Clay.
Yeah.
I said it a couple of weeks ago. I was like, man, if they rolling like this without Clay, and it's not like Clay requires the ball, so he's not going to be in the way. He can go off a couple of picks and just go stand somewhere and relax. Because we know when he get it, it's flying, and then he's going to be 45-50% from three. So what is you supposed to do?
Exactly. and as our man Will Strickland always reminds us, is the last thing you lose is that ratchet.
Yeah.
And that muscle memory that Clay has. I mean, we all seen his sports science where the motherfucker was damn near went perfect from 3 blindfolded. It's the last thing you're gonna lose. The last thing you're gonna lose. But where do y'all pick the game? I already picked Knicks losing by 10. Where do y'all pick that game?
I got the Knicks taking that L too. Speaking of which, the Knicks is getting so much bad press right now. I was watching Power the other day, and there's a dude on there who's declaring to go to the NBA draft, and the chick was like, "Why don't you go to the Knicks?" She's like, and the dude was like, "The Knicks can't be saved." I was like, "Fuck y'all."
Oh, what?
Shit, why'd you even need to put that in there, yo? It was not necessary.
But you got to blame
It was
50
not
for that.
necessary. It was not necessary. I felt like I'm gonna boycott the show behind this, but I don't know yet.
The fucking disrespect.
It's-
This is your pick, Sauce. Where do you have this one going?
Oh yeah, I'm going Golden State with the obvious dub. I hope Tibbs figures out what he's going to do with or without Kimba. If they can ship him out of there early, just go ahead, let that man move on. Let that man move on and let the Knicks move on as well. But anyway, yeah, Golden State. Steph gonna go ahead and give y'all 40. He's gonna give y'all the 40 in New York. 8 threes.
Ooh, Lord.
So he's gonna
I'm
break
getting
the record against us. He's gonna break the record against us.
He's gonna go 8 for 17 from 3 and give y'all 40 for you.
Oh,
Jesus.
TJ, let's get off that stank real quick.
The accuracy. Yo. You know what I'm saying? Why you had to go so in depth like that, man? You could have just said they were gonna win by 15, and then we could have just moved on. But no, you got to be like 8 for 17. Let's other stuff.
Let's not act like our Knicks haven't been that shit for so long.
You're right.
Hey,
You're right.
We get those beatings.
I definitely do sports as much as hip hop. So
Nice. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
It's on you, TJ.
Let's go to Wednesday night. Let's see what's happening Wednesday night. Shoot the roulette wheel.
All right, Wednesday night. We got the Houston Rockets, who've been on a bit of a streak, versus the Cleveland Cavs. Hawks Magic, Heat Sixers, Lakers Mavs, Pacers Bucks, Pelicans Thunder, Hornets Spurs,
Jesus.
Timberwolves Nuggets. Holy shit, is everybody in their fucking system playing? Clippers Jazz, Grizzlies Trailblazers, Wizards Kings. That's the whole NBA playing in the same fucking night.
we just gonna stop at the Heat Sixers. That's gonna be the must see TV right there.
Mm-hmm.
Sixers have been on a roll since Embiid came back out of the protocol. Thought he was gonna die. Heat is hurting a little bit. Bam is out with an injury. I think another player is out with an injury, but they're still Brian Spoelstra still's got that team playing hard every night. You're not going to take no nights off with Butler on the court if he's on your team. So I expect them to give a good effort. The Sixers are still hurting without Ben Simmons, and they still need capable outside shooters to carry them through the game. I got this the Heat in a close one, maybe by like 5. And Jimmy Butler owns Joel Embiid at this point.
I'm giving Tyler Hero with the game-winning shot to beat the Sixers by 2. That's where I'm going, Sauce. And I'm specifically just picking Tyler Hero just cause to rub it in our homie JP's face because he's the diehard Sixers fan. But, I'm giving Tyler Hero with the game-winning, Sauce. What you got?
I'm going with your man's JP, I guess. I'll take the Sixers. Sixers by 3, and Embiid give him a 30 and 12.
Yeah, he can get that.
Yeah,
he can get that. They have no inside presence on that team.
Yeah, so. Without Bayon, it's a problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, last but not least, I'm gonna wrap this up, and I'm gonna go Thursday night. Sixers Nets. Sixers Nets Thursday night. I'm taking Brooklyn, not just because not going New York City biased. I just think Brooklyn is the better team right now. I think Harden's going to be able to find himself in this game, go for like a solid 20, 10 and 10. KD is going to put 30 on their head. Embiid to still be able to get his, but he's gonna have like about a 25-10 and say maybe 7 assist night. But I'm going with the Nets to win by at least 5 to 6 points easily, Source.
It's on me.
Yes, sir.
Going Brooklyn by 8. Especially since we just talked about the Sixers playing on Wednesday night, so they got the back-to-back. That might slow Embiid down since he's coming off an injury or whatever the case may be. Still, yeah, KD 30, 32 and 8. I give him 32 and 8. That should be easy. 32, 8 and 5. Let's go there.
There you go.
KD and Brooklyn wins by 8.
TJ.
That's interesting. He said it's a back-to-back. He might not play against the Heat, but he might play against the Nets. That might be the bigger game for them. But like you said, Mr. Glass, he'll get his buckets, but the firepower of KD and Harden is going to be just a little bit too much for the Sixers to handle. They don't have nobody to match up with Harden or KD. And those guys are going to, get to the bucket as well, because you're going to pull Joel Embiid out from the paint, and it's going to be to the rack all day. So I'm with you, maybe 8-10 points on this one, and that's how I see the Nets pulling away. They'll pull away late, if anything. They just got too many solid clutch players on that team. You mean, who you going to guard, KD or Harden? To take the last shot if it was close? Like, once Harden starts cooking, KD is going to be an easy night for him. So I see, like you said, maybe 8 to 10 points, but it's definitely going in there.
And I had to show the standings of the East right now, just because of y'all mentioning like the Sixers back to back and B coming back and playing back to backs, and the way the standings lay now. Yeah, it does look like Brooklyn is the more important game than the Heat, even though thinking about it as an athlete and understanding you got to climb that ladder piece by piece by piece. Miami should be the more important game to get that step up.
That's the team you should be. That's the team you should be.
Yeah, because just off of standings, the visual of the standings alone, and they're only a game off of each other, literally a game off of each other. So you would think that the Sixers and Doc would make more of a priority against the Heat, but you also want to take out whoever's the top dog. So will Joel Embiid be able to man up and play 2 nights in a row? That is the good question.
He hasn't done that shit since he's been in the league, bro. don't look for it. Don't look for it Wednesday or Thursday.
Fair enough.
Word up. But anyway, man, let's get right into the shits, man. Before we get into the shits, let's find out a little bit more about you, Source, man. Like, tell the people who you are, what you do, where you come from, a little bit of your hip-hop background and sports background, because as you let us know a little earlier that your podcast, as I looked it up, was Source & Co. You do sports, you do hip-hop, just like we do. We're a sports, politics, hip-hop, everyday life kind of show, man. But let's help us get to know more about you.
All right, I'll be brief. So I do a podcast. I host a podcast, Source & Company, which you mentioned. Really, it's just I'm from Richmond, Virginia. So Source & Company, I usually interview people who are connected to Richmond, whether they business or entertainment, basketball, hip hop, whatever the case may be. Anybody I can get my hands on that's willing to tell their story, their life story. Like, the motto of the show is everybody's got a story. So I just try to get people to tell their story, share their story, and maybe they'll help somebody else or, be motivating or whatever the case may be. I also do, like you, I have a sports group. It's okay to mention a sports group.
Mention what you want, because the way we operate here, whether people remember us once we're done or not, we show love to everybody. And the point of what we do here, part of what we do here is we give love to everybody, and we love to see each other win. So if we don't get anywhere and you do from this, dope. If we don't go nowhere from this, whatever. But the point of this is building relationships, building new bonds, building new friendships, new sources of communication, because you never know. We could be coming down to Virginia one time to do something, whether it's here to start at 5 or my company, HHDG Media. We could be coming down to Virginia, yo, Source, let's connect and do something. You
Right.
coming up here to New York, yo, let's connect and do something. But nonetheless, if you ever needed us to push your shit, yo, hit me up. Yo, Dan, can you throw this up for me? We got you. We're about spreading love and not worried about the inter. We love the intermingling. I love the intermingling. Showing love is what I love to do, and give everything out, man. We here for you too. We here
Cool.
for you too. That's why we putting the spotlight on you right now.
I appreciate it. So, a friend of mine, my man Chris, and I do a sports podcast called the Sports Bar Podcast, SBP. It's a group on Facebook. Basically, we talk sports, hip hop, TV, movies, beer. We play FanDuel every Sunday for the NFL. We do some NBA stuff, talk parlays. We just talk about whatever. And it's pretty cool. It's very laid back. We argue sports and hip hop or whatever, but the people, we made it so that people do not bring their politics into this particular space, because we can talk about politics anywhere. Like if you want to talk about politics, do it on your personal page. I do it on my personal page, or race, or whatever the case may be. Anything that's going to be, kind of a fight at some point, we try to let that be, and this be a place where everybody comes and has a good time, talk sports, beer, whatever. Like I said, it's a group on Facebook, the SBP. And we actually just did a show this morning. We do Sunday mornings live and pick like 6 or 7 NFL games, talk about them, and chop that up. And whatever happened during the week as far as sports or hip hop is concerned. And, I used to rap, but that never turned into anything for real. So the group's name, I'll mention it. The group's name is Grown Folks. My name was Mike Source, MIC Source, one word. The only thing that is streamable, like on Spotify, Apple Music, etc., is our album, which was under the name Grown Folks. It was called Child's Play. Came out 2006. Had Skyzoo, Phil the Agony, Darian Brockington. Who else? Maybe another 1 or 2 people that might be recognizable. It was a dope project. It just never turned into anything bigger, but we still got that, and it created some, nice relationships and stuff like that. So while it didn't become what I wanted it to be, it probably was more beneficial because I'm, married, 2 kids, 21 years married. So, it's a lot to it, especially even being that small. It was still jumping on the road to go to North Carolina, to go to DC, to go to wherever and do a show and then drive back and go to work. And, it just became a lot. And the success was not there to quantify going more to me. So here we are.
I know that. I know that feeling of shit not adding up. You know what I'm saying? And because my personal experiences within hip hop is I've been a DJ since '96, but I kind of stopped doing parties even back then. Another story for another day on why. But I've as recent as 2015, I was on a radio station, online radio station, where my first mix was heard in over 20 plus countries. I've done events as far as like we've hosted the Odd Couple, aka the Executioners, Rob Swift and Mr. Sinister out here on Staten Island. We used to run a hip hop karaoke out here on Staten Island. I was a cameraman for my homies ARP and Shata on Rare Breed Entertainment, RBE, the Rap Battle League. I did that from the first event till about 2018. Had a lot of dope battles under my belt as far as camera work. We've done so many. I've done so many things. Like you mentioned Skyzoo. My homie Fred Benz had him on a track with us, and I helped film one of the videos that was being shot in Brooklyn with Sky Zoo. Like we did a couple scenes with him there. We've met Sky Zoo several occasions through our group HHDG. I am a co-owner with 4 other partners in HHDG Media. We're a hip hop multimedia company where my partners one has over 30 plus years as a DJ. My homie T Smith is almost 28 years in the TV and movie and film industry.
Right.
Like and he's hit, like just mentioning him. I believe it was the Black Album movie that Jay-Z had out about, all the recording behind the scenes in the studio shit. He filmed all of that. Like, so we got some people under our belt that's done some things, but when you mention the shit ain't adding up, we could talk about that another day with a lot of just shit that I've been through personally. That shit stops because I'm married, 3 kids, 3 daughters. Fun fact for you, my last 2 daughters, because I mentioned my birthday's Christmas Day. My youngest daughter is Christmas Day. My middle daughter is the day after Christmas.
Wow.
And those two are 364 days apart. So they're Irish twins. The middle is older. And then my father is the day after Christmas also.
Wow.
Yeah.
Christmas is y'all's time. Y'all get it in.
March is the sexy time in these
just turn your pockets out the last week before Christmas, Dan, and just give up all your money, man.
For real.
That's it, man. But I mean, listen, we could sit and talk about that stuff all day. The hip hop culture, and I have to specify culture, because as you seen my video in response to into your video, which I'm going to try to pull up now so the people are familiar with what we're speaking on and why we had to bring this up as a topic. People always forget when mentioning hip hop, the average layman, as I will call him for right now, only thinks of rap music.
Right.
And to me, that is a problem. How do you see that, being somebody who participated actively within the culture also?
Well, it's not surprising. I think, man, hip hop is a culture, like you said. I think that most people who are outside of whatever culture only dig into a different culture on the surface anyway. So they're only going to look at the most popular thing, or the thing that most people are attracted to. So they're just looking at the pop version of whatever the culture is, if that makes sense. It is what it is. It is what it is. The fact that hip hop culture, or hip hop in general, pretty much runs the world at this point, as far as content and everything. It's literally everywhere, from entertainment to business to everything, from hip hop artists becoming entrepreneurs to them being brands that are advertising for whatever company. Yeah, you never thought, or I never thought it would go here. So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, like shout out to the homie Ed. He said these young Thundercats forget there are 5 elements to this hip hop Costa Nostra. There's actually more if you really want to go there, Ed, because we got the core 4, as we'll call it for now, is the DJ, which started all of this shit, as I should remind y'all. The B-boy and B-girl, the MCs, and what really we could say started it all is the dancers. I mean, the writers. But when it comes to the writers, though, there has been, and since we're going right to the controversy, let's go right in on this. The OG writers out there, from Lady Pink, Scene, even Grandmaster Flash himself, says that the graffiti is not hip hop. Yet we've adapted that as a part of our culture from day one. What's your thoughts on that? If you ever even heard that before. I don't know if you even heard that before.
I was about to say that's new information. I've never heard anybody say that. Uh, I don't know what they mean by that. I Well, I
Okay.
guess it didn't start out like nobody was started out tagging as a sign of hip hop or as a to support hip hop or anything. They just tagging because that's what they did,
Right.
and maybe hip hop kind of adapted graffiti to it as opposed to graffiti adapting hip hop. Yeah, but that I've never heard that before though.
And I think that's exactly how it happened in my opinion, from my point of view. Because when you listen to a scene, a Lady Pink, especially them two, because those two are some of the architects of the graffiti culture within this space of hip hop and the world. They will say it like Scene was like I was into the rock and punk scene at the time while we were out there doing graffiti. Lady Pink was I was in the rock and the disco and all of that, and while out there doing graffiti on the trains and in the streets and everywhere. Like that's where when they were writing, like hip hop culture hip hop and rap music as a whole wasn't even fully created yet. It
Right.
wasn't something that was towards the masses. This is why they say that it's not hip hop, but yet it is something that we've adapted to us and our style because it added to the rebellious nature of hip hop culture. And we all know how hip hop culture was, TJ. It's
Yeah, I think graffiti got into hip hop when it got into the fashion. When you saw dudes rocking tag pieces on their jean jackets and down the sides of their legs and stuff, that's where really we incorporated graffiti into hip hop. The early break dancers with the bubble letters on the sweatshirts for their crews, all the tags and stuff like that with the names. And then you started incorporating the shows. They would have these big walls behind them with tags of the groups and stuff like that. So we folded around graffiti and brought it into hip hop, and that's why most people say graffiti is hip hop because that's what they saw on the dancers, on the battle dancers, on the rappers' backs and stuff like that. So, and these people were part of the community too. They knew the MCs. Like graffiti artists and hip hop artists lived in the same building. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like there was no distinct uh, place where they only hung out. No, they hung out in pretty much the same neighborhoods and stuff like that. People knew who the taggers were. People knew who the dancers were. People who knew the MCs were, and that's I think where we're at today with it. It's not as celebrated as I think it should be, just like with the dancing, because I think fashion just really morphed and took over the hip hop genre with the clothing. It just got out of control, especially in the early '90s when we started getting cross colors and the fat farms and the baby fat and all that other stuff. Like there was Jabot jeans and all that stuff and the Hill figures and the polos. So that really started to take over the industry a lot in that
right.
sense.
But then also to adding on when we're talking about the culture as a whole, fashion is one of those quote unquote elements. But the most important one that I know we as a crew push as far as HHDG Media is concerned is the lens. The lens, the camera. If it wasn't for the camera, a lot of this early stuff would not be documented for us to know. This is why it is such an important piece to the hip hop culture and why we've been pushing it the way we have. And shout outs to my man T again for starting this initiative. He already had the likes of Ralph McDaniels, like, yeah, I'm on board with whatever movement y'all start with this. You know what I'm saying? He got that same blessing from KRS-One personally, like, yo, yes, this is a part of the culture because if it wasn't for the Joe Sconzos and all these other peoples and stuff like that, like we wouldn't know what the early days looked like if it wasn't for somebody that said, yo, fuck it, I can't dance, I can't DJ, I can't rap, but I got this little freaking Instamatic joint and you know what I'm saying? Like it had to get documented, but that's just the start of some of the controversy that people might not be aware of and stuff like that. I mean, shit, we just hipped you to something, Source. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely.
but oh shit, it decided to play. Let's give the people what sparked this whole conversation, and it comes from your page via TikTok. Again, TikTok has been the most fun place for me on the internet thus far.
Me
And
too.
let's go into a little bit of this, and let's listen to some of this blasphemy, and let's talk about some of this stuff.
Redman is a better rapper than Nas.
Let me rewind that a little bit.
Stitch this with your most controversial hip hop opinion that you're willing to discuss.
Redman is a better rapper than Nas.
Drake is the best rapper of all time.
I don't feel comfortable putting the Notorious Big in my top 5, albeit he's lyrically gifted. He doesn't have enough body of work to stand with the people that are in top 5s.
I feel like Big Boy is extremely disrespected, and I feel like he's on the same playing field as Andre 3000. People often bring up Andre 3000 in discussion of greats, but always leave off Big Boy.
Jay-Z don't got bars. You have never heard something that Jay-Z said and been like, oh, he say clever shit, but he don't got bars.
That's the point that I want to stop at right now. I want to go in on some of these topics here. I want to go in on some of these here. But when you did your live the other day, and you specifically talked about this point here, and I said that this was a nuanced conversation between generations. And I don't know if you saw my comment on that, and I wish I had the time, because I would have tried to send the invite to join that part of the conversation. For niggas to say that Jay-Z don't have quote unquote bars like that, and looking at that young brother, I could tell he's of a certain age. This generation of rap right now is quote unquote concerned with the quote bars. And coming from the battle rap world like I have been in, this discussion of bars is very tricky, because one, a person like Jay-Z makes music, makes songs. Metaphorically, try to find a few people that are better than him metaphorically. When people talk bars, in my opinion, they're talking more the rappers who do similes that people think are metaphors. And you and as an MC, you get me, because people will be like such and such and such, like that, like is what turns it into the simile, not the metaphor.
They looking for. I feel like that guy was looking for punchlines.
Yes.
When he said bars, he means he don't have punchlines, as in the setup, blah blah blah, like blah blah blah. Yeah, hey, I'm totally with you on that. Because to say that Jay-Z doesn't have bars is just like, that's just ignorant. Like, not even ignorant, not calling him ignorant. I'm saying in reality, that's an ignorant statement. Like, how could you say something like that? That makes no sense. It makes no sense.
At TJ, go ahead. My bad.
I was just gonna say, I don't know if you were still in. I started going through. I was like, bro, let me just go through a verse. So
I was listening at the time, and you went through a whole verse.
I went through the first verse of PSA. I was like explaining that, John. Like, what am I missing? That I don't know, bro.
That whole song was just a very clever source. That whole song was just very clever.
Yeah, right. It was
Ain't
no bars. He's clever though.
Ain't no bar. Listen, man, like you said, bars is a tricky subject, because Slick Rick is a great storyteller, but he drops bars in his stories. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. KRS-One is a knowledgeable MC. Yes, he's got bars. Two contrasts of styles don't mean they don't have bars.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So to say that these guys don't have bars is ridiculous. Like, Kool G Rap has bars, but it's mostly gangster rap. But you can't tell me that the man doesn't have bars. You got 3 different styles. De La Soul has bars. Tribe Called Quest has bars. Run DMC has bars. Like, even though their styles are at the opposite ends of the spectrum, you can't subtract that from the way they rhyme or their style of rhyming, because you can't relate to what a bar is in your world. All right.
Mm-hmm.
You have to understand the entire platform of rap music to understand who does and who doesn't have bars. Shit, even Nice and Smooth had bars, and this shit was on some funny shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Because Dizzy Gillespie played the sax. Me, myself, right. I like the Max. Like that's a quote unquote, that's a bar, even though Dizzy Gillespie did not play the sax. And there still ain't no bones in ice cream. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how many times the ball bounces. There's
Right.
still no
So
bones tonight.
this dude is speaking from a very narrow perspective
Right.
of rap music that he's only listened to. Like I don't know, I can't speak for him, but from that statement alone, he's very narrow-minded in terms of what bars should be to him.
Right.
And that is not the case with all these talented MCs out here. It's just not the
Like-
case.
Like I think what it is, Source, is when people talk that bars talk, it's so people, instead of wanting a full song, like they just want to be like they just like battle rap. They just want that reaction. But then when you put together a quote unquote bar heavy MC, let's think about the song itself. It's not there, which will spin me into one of the last things you were talking about. Exhibit or Game. If you were to take one of these two, who would you take, Exhibit or Game? I personally, TJ knows me, I am far from the biggest Game fan. But if you want to talk bars, Game got bars, but he don't put together great songs like Exhibit, where Exhibit will give you bars, but
Dan,
puts together a great song.
Most MCs that are bar heavy don't have commercial songs. They're not getting heavy radio airplay like that because it's like you said, it's not a song. It's not constructed to be a song where you, like you said, it's like a battle rap. You can't make two battle rappers that are battling each other into I mean, you can try to make it into a song. It ain't going to be what you listen to every day. You're like, oh, let me go throw on this battle rap because I need to hear the bars. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it's going to get played on the radio like that. So most, like, you know, Royce is a great bar heavy MC. You know what I'm saying? But more of his popular joints were a little light on that end because it was a song. It was a song, and it had a beginning, it had structure. And you know, most dudes with bars are just going in, and they're going in for 2-3 minutes with no hook. No construction to it. They're just blasting through it. So yes, you could be a very bar heavy MC, but are there many bar heavy? Look at Papoose. Papoose is like the king of bar heavy MC, right? Where's Papoose on the radio? You'll never find him unless it's like a Memorial Day weekend or some shit like that, and they got to throw somebody on at the 4 a.m. mix. You know what I'm saying?
That's real.
It just don't happen. It just don't happen like that.
That's real. I mean, not to change the subject totally, but that is why when people say Big L would have made Jay-Z, lesser than he is, I'm like, I don't understand that. I don't understand that. Like, that makes no sense to me. I don't understand it. I didn't even realize, like, until recently that L was going to be signed to Rockefeller. I'm not sure I ever heard it. Maybe I heard it when it happened and just forgot about it, but that's not something I remember, for real. But I'm like, what would Big L do that would affect Jay-Z as a rapper? Jay-Z raps about everything, like women and drinking and bars,
politics,
and
everything. Yeah, right.
L raps about street life and his punchlines. So I don't understand how the two even mix, but everybody says it.
That didn't, and well, that was one of them things that, like, I guess I hate putting it in a regional sense, but a lot of us New Yorkers did know that Big L was up next to be with Rockefeller before he died. But, like, speaking on them too, and like Ed's comment here, December 4th is an entire memoir on wax that I know published writers who use that as an example in their writing classes on how to write a memoir. Like, that's one of them differences in a Jay-Z versus a Big L. Is Jay-Z, though we know technically he doesn't pen to paper anymore, or even since Big let him know, like, he don't put pen to paper, but it's pen to paper right here. He's giving you a full fleshed out story with the quote unquote punches and bars in there. And good MCs like that give you that replayability. Like, right. I love Big L. Don't get me wrong, I love Big L. But Big L's stuff was easier to get that you didn't have to be like, oh shit, yo, what was that again? Let me rewind that. Like, let me bring that back. Like, that's why I love Doom so much. Rest in peace to Daniel Dumoulin. Man, his music, people hate him for some reason. Some personal. I know why. Shout outs to the homie. But his music is so fucking layered that you can rewind and do a case study piece by piece by almost every 8 bars in a track and discover some total deep shit that it's like, holy crap, where quote unquote it is bar heavy, but it goes over your head bar heavy because he's still putting together a song. It's still putting together a song.
It's like your favorite rapper, Dan Fabulous, who's just a big, heavy punchline rapper. Dan hates Fabulous Sauce. Hates him. But then you got a Jay Electronica, you know what I'm saying? Who's on that same level where he'll kick some shit that'll go right over your head, and you'll come back to you and be like, oh, that's what he was talking about, you know? But he's a very popular MC that gives you hard-hitting bars with a little anecdote in there to throw you off a little bit. So
to make you think.
Yes,
to make you think.
Right. And so when you say these rappers don't have bars, they didn't get this far and this successful because they didn't have bars. That's just don't happen. It don't happen. You can't fudge your way through hip hop and be as successful as Jay-Z without bars. He used to battle DMX on a nightly basis. You didn't think the man had bars for DMX, and DMX has bars. Like, you know what I'm saying? So to say Jay-Z doesn't have bars, man, I mean, that guy was, I guess that was the hot button topic, and he wanted to make some noise, and he got it.
Well, Sauce, again,
he got it.
We're talking this because you brought the conversation. So give us some of your favorite ones that were like that were controversial for us to discuss right now.
Responses,
whether they're responses or even some of your own takes. Like,
I'll give you one that will make y'all either mad or that y'all won't even have a response for because it's nothing to respond to. This dude said, I think it's in the second or third, because I did 3 parts of that joint. I think in the second or third joint, I put him in there and he said, KRS-One, man, he is a legend and he is like knowledgeable, but he can't rap. I was like, sir, what are we talking about here? What are we doing?
Cut his mic off. Please don't let him on the internet no more. Yo.
Nobody even. I have still on to this day, and this was at least about a week and a half ago, whatever it was. No person has sent a reply to that. They talk about everything else. Not one person has said anything about his statement.
They just scroll right past that shit.
Like, yeah. Moving on.
Yo, you see me just throw my. You see me just throw my headphones, right? Y'all saw that, right?
Oh my god, that's so sad. You have to laugh, bro. You can't get upset about it.
You were
it's
right,
comical.
though. There's nothing to say to that.
There's nothing to say. What can you do with that? What can you do with that information? Nothing.
That was a clout chase move. That's what I'll call that one. That was a clout chase move.
The weird part is I would agree with that, but it didn't feel like it when he said it. It felt like he was just like, there's one lady on the end of one of the videos. She's sitting back smoking a cigar, and she just turns to the camera and says, "Tupac is overrated." That felt more like a clout chase move to me because she had no other information. She had no details. She just said that and moved on with her life. So, and I put it in there because she looked cool doing it. She was like chilling, looking over here. Then she turned to the camera, like, said what she said, and that was it. So it looked good. It didn't make any sense to me. Whether you like Tupac or not, saying he's overrated 25 years after he's dead without having the context of his effect on culture and music and all that, you know, if you didn't think he was nice then, that's one thing. But to say it now and you're just looking back and don't even have anything to compare it to, I can't.
Like, I would say Pac isn't top 5, but that's personal to me.
And
but
that's fair.
to discount that man's legacy on, I mean, just work ethic alone. And we've all heard the stories of work ethic alone. Like, this man had the work ethic of, he knocked out albums worth of content in studio sessions a night. Whether it came out or not, always staying on his toes, always keeping his pen sharp. His hits, undeniable.
Right.
Like, your grandmother loves Tupac joints. There's at least one that your grandmother might know. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow. There's some people, but like Ed said, someone said KRS-One can't rap. Cocaine cut with fentanyl is a hell of a drug. The fuck? Like, for real.
Now he did have a bonnet on, so there's that. But no, I'm just joking. He did. I mean, he probably had dreads or braids or something. But that made it funny to me.
He said Tupac's still recording all the way from Valhalla. That's how hard he works. But this one here, though, this is one controversial. This is one of the most controversial people in hip hop. And I know you even had words on this one. Based on this awesome convo, where does Eminem land in all of this? Battle rapper, storyteller, bars, no bars. Let me start this one off. To me, Eminem is one of the greatest ever. And in my response video to you, which I think didn't make your cut just yet because I was a little too logical in this sense, where I had mentioned top 5s should be personal to you. Like, I remember, I think it was BET or MTV had that little commission of people who you could take them and leave these people. I think DJ Vlad was one of them. They tried to come up with an overarching universal top 5 with people who were, you could tell some of them liked rap, but just worked in the industry and yada, yada, yada. Top 5s to me, it should just be personal. Eminem is one of those people that should be personally in a top 5, but he goes along with my conversation of having a legends category. People that are top tier MCs that do not need to be quantified by a number. And the reason why I even built that was because I would always leave Ice Cube out of my top 5 and Master Ace. It's hard to put them two in for who I really, really love the most. But these two cats are some of the reasons why I love rap as a whole. Eminem belongs in that conversation because Eminem, though album-wise, he's got a lot of yes, but try to out-rap that dude. It's tough. He's one of those MCs that along the same level of Black Thought, you don't want to battle these cats. Like, these are the two that are like gold standard MCs that it's like you don't want to go head to head with them on a track because they're going to either make you want to rewrite your shit or start all over or say, fuck this, I'm not doing as good as these two did on a verse, on a song. And I'm talking like posse cut shit. Even Busta Rhymes kind of falls into that category of I don't want to follow him. And I think a lot of the vitriol for Eminem is just simply because he's white. And a lot of people, especially TJ, this goes down in our HHDG group all the time. People try to find every little which way between, oh, I don't know about drugs like that. Oh, he's talking about killing his mama and this and that and the third. If we understood his traumatic upbringing, you would understand rhymes like that. I never lived that, but you could feel it through the music. You know what I'm saying? When you're talking about killing the mama and drugs, he's talking about part of his past life of substance abuse and things like that. Yeah. What you don't relate to Conway or Benny, or you don't relate to G-Rap's rap, shit. You don't relate to the gangster rapper NWA and people. You don't relate to those things. But you love the music. I think a lot of the not relating to Eminem is just simply he's a white MC, but they don't want to admit that. That's
Here's
just
my take. Here's my take. When he came on the scene, he shifted the culture because nobody ever heard a white dude spit like this before. And he was good. He wasn't average. He wasn't mediocre. He was good. Not only is good, he was really good. And then when he started rhyming with other MCs and he was holding his water, it was like, oh shit, this boy's a problem. And that bothered a lot of people because he shouldn't have been a problem. People were upset that he was out rhyming their favorite MC. People were upset that he was putting out more bars than their best MC, or had more punchlines than their favorite MC. And that fucked up a lot of people's heads. It's like, how is this white dude come on the scene and he's blowing these dudes out the water on a track? Like, I don't understand that.
And on that point there too, before we let you go on this source, people who don't pay attention as deeply maybe as some of us do, they didn't realize Eminem was in the Scribble Jam stuff like that. He was in the battle scene like that. And I watched him get beat by MC Juice. Watched him get beat by Supernatural, shit like that, where people don't realize, Eminem was living in New Jersey for a long part of the time, a early part of his career, down with the Outsiders, with Young Z and Pace One and all of them, sharpening his bars all throughout the New York and Jersey scene, like sharpening his bars, getting his shit right until Dr. Dre found him and then put him over the top. Now, I will say, Source, that yes, his whiteness helped him elevate to the standards that he was because he was that bridge that brought together people that weren't of rap and hip hop culture at one time, saying, hey, now I have somebody that I can look at. But then you're also taking the opinions of people who haven't been in rap, haven't been within this hip hop culture for a long time, and now they're propping him as the GOAT because they are their favorite MC, because he's their favorite MC because, hey, he looks like me. But I'm going to listen to Eminem, but I'm still going to go back to Slipknot.
Real quick, though, he is a historian of the culture, too. Like, he gives his props.
Actual facts.
And he respects the people that paved the way before him. So you can't knock the dude for doing his homework while he was in the game.
And he will tell you people like Tretch is his biggest influence. Pharoah Monch is an influence on him.
G-Rap, he loves G-Rap.
Master Ace is one of his biggest favorites. Like, that's them things that I think, Source, that people don't pay respect to when talking about him, is that he's not just white MC that just jumped into space. Like, he's really of this shit.
I got like 25 different things I want to say.
Go ahead, say them.
I can't remember all. That's why I had to grab my notebook and start jotting down what y'all was saying so I could come back and say something. All right, so I don't even know where to start. Like, it's all over the place. I'm all over the place. Okay, so I like Eminem overall. I like Eminem. I know, and there's no question that he can rap. That's not even a question. When people say he can't rap, especially when white people say he can't rap, I'd be like, you just saying that just to say it, because you can't say he can't rap. Like, you can not like him, or you can not think he's as good as he gets props for, but to say he can't rap makes no sense. But I don't think that him out rapping people is really a thing. I think he's more dynamic than a lot of people. So he appears like Busta appears. Busta doesn't necessarily outbar anybody specifically. Not that Busta can't rhyme, but he doesn't necessarily outbar somebody on a song. He outshines them on a song. I think M and Busta are the same as far as outshining people on a song. Black Thought lyrically just outshines people on a song, and I don't think he even tries to. I think he just goes into the song to make the best song possible, and his skill level is so high that most times he looks like he's just shining over everybody. That's just, him as an MC. Uh, I feel you on the concepts thing though. I feel you on the like you don't know the life of all these other people, gangster rapper, whoever else, and you use that against Eminem because he's talking about killing his mom. I'm big on him talking about killing his mom, and black people ain't gonna talk about that, and that would never sell because it would never sell. No, nobody's buying that if he was black. And I don't. I was about to say I don't think I know that Dr. Dre is not signing Eminem if he's black because what would be the point? Why would Dr. Dre sign a black battle rapper to Aftermath? That makes no sense. So he wasn't going to sign.
Right.
And I don't want to say Cannabis because Cannabis is a top tier battle rapper, but he wouldn't sign random battle rapper to Aftermath, and they're not from LA or not from the West Coast. So there would be no other reason other than M is nice and he's white.
And
So-
marketable because
Right.
he's white. Because
Yeah,
he's white.
and I feel that white people think that white people in the that follow me on TikTok think that I don't like Eminem. They think I don't like Eminem, and they think I don't like him because he's white, which I find to be hilarious because I break down I tell them why, and regardless of what I say, they call me a racist. You're a racist. I was like, I'm not even gonna get to the point of black people can't be racist to white people in America. That's a whole nother conversation.
Oh. Yeah, we don't have to go there, but we could go there. We do that here.
I'm just saying, like, on the page, look, I try not to even get into that type of stuff on that page because one is so new, and two, I'm not. There's a million people who get on TikTok and argue black, white, racist, not racist all day, every day. And that's cool if that's what you want to do. I really don't want to do that every day, all day. I'll do it when I do it, when I want to do it on my time, but I'm not going to be arguing black, white, like all day, every day. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. That's not fun. And TikTok has been fun for me since I've been on it. So I'm not trying to do that. So either way, I know Eminem's dope. I respect Eminem. I think he's a top level rapper. And, he was a battle MC. He did all that. It was on Lyricist Lounge stuff. Lyricist Lounge 3, I think he was. Rocket Style, all that. But I do think that M would still be with, and I said M was, if he was black, he'd be Cannabis. But I think that was an overstatement because I don't think he'd be Cannabis. I think he'd be less than Cannabis because Cannabis is a legend to a lot of people. And I'm not saying skill level. I'm saying impact. Cannabis, we talk about Cannabis, people know who Cannabis is.
Yeah.
We know that Cannabis battled LL. Cannabis had the best verse on Beats from the East. People argue that that's one of the best verses of all time, blah, blah, blah. I don't know that Eminem could be black and be that. I don't think he could even be that. I think he'd be less because we all know a million MCs who are nice and nobody knows who they are. So I'm not sure if he would have ever reached, the public view overall.
Right. Yeah.
He was dope, but does he? Yeah, it's arguable to me.
No, I give you that, and it's very debatable, arguable. I mean, the better than Cannabis. I think even still lyrically, yeah, he was better than Cannabis, but
lyrically, they both rap about. Just saying, they both rap about things that nobody cares about. Like generally speaking, black people don't care about the moon and the stars, but Cannabis raps about it. And they don't care about killing their mom and putting their girlfriend in the trunk and all that when M raps about it.
Yeah. They care about the moon and the stars if it's coming from a 5%er point of view. I'd say that. If it's on some scientific, miracle, lyrical, spirituals, you know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, if you take it to Wise Intelligence, you take it to Jay Electronica, you take it to the GZA, and the GZA is the one who's noted as having the most dynamic lyric ability in hip hop, like AK quote unquote use the most words in songs. Him and A$AP Rock, a white guy,
right,
use the most words in rap. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's Eminem isn't up there, but I mean, the thing with Eminem to me, especially in nowadays, is his use of flow. And when you listen to him in songs now, like you hear him try to touch shit in lanes that people don't dare try to do because they can't do it.
True.
Because they can't do it. Like there's a brother actually on TikTok. I think he goes by like Mazboo or something like that. Like he teaches about different flows. He gives breakdowns and teaches about different flows and how, say, rhyming on the 1 and the 3 is still rhyming on beat, unlike rhyming on the 2 and the 4, or you're rhyming on the 1 and then the 4 and then the 3 and then the 2, like bounce. Like there's ways to do these things that the average fan might not understand because they're used to boom, boom,
A,
boom,
B, C,
boom.
D.
Boom. They're used to exactly. That's part of the reason why I'm not a fan of Fab. I don't hate Fab. I'm not a fan because to me, it is ABCD rap. Very easy to get. And even Jay-Z told them, yo, you don't want to be over lyrical. You want to dumb it down some so people could get it. That's what made him the success that he is today. Because you don't go over lyrical in some cases, but a person like Eminem, it may sound over lyrical, but he's just spitting it in a flow that you can't catch.
And that's another thing right there. People don't realize that Em is not the most lyrical person. Like he's not.
If he wants to be, though,
crazy word. His words are basic. He uses basic words to rhyme. He uses dope flows to get there. But his word usage is not like he's not going triple entendre with words. He's going triple entendre with sounds. So he's not going to give you a 4-syllable word and another 4-syllable word that rhymes. He's going to give you 4 words that rhyme, and then 4 more that rhyme with the word before it. It's nuance. It's nuanced to me. So
it is. But another controversial tape bringing up cannabis. Let's rewind a little bit with the 4, 3, 2, 1. We all remember that shit. Cannabis won the battle. I think Cannabis won the battle. LL won the war. That's where I make the difference in. Now, I personally, from thinking back in that era, it took LL about 2 or 3 more songs after second round knockout to really give him that knockout blow. But then the winning of the war was, I'm still going. I'm on my 10th album. While where the fuck are you? But then eventually we got Cannabis back by way of the Horseman situation. So that's just me. I want to go controversy.
That makes sense. And you can't say that Cannabis's song wasn't. I think Cannabis's song was doper than L's song, whatever song you choose.
It definitely was. It definitely was.
It's kind of like the Knicks.
Go ahead. It's okay to bury us.
I don't have anything specific, but I was just saying the Knicks. Let's say the Knicks beat Golden State on Tuesday night, and then Golden State wins the championship. Nobody cares that the Knicks beat Golden State on Tuesday night, so they won that battle. But Golden State won the championship. So what difference does it make?
I'll give it. Since you mentioned the Knicks, I'll give it to you like this. It was when the Knicks won the one playoff game back when we had Melo and we popped fucking streamers and lost the fucking playoff series anyway with 1 win. I give you. There you go. Shout out to the homie Jamal. He says, I'm in the 7th level of hell right now over these Knicks. I know. We know.
my partner from the Sports Ball podcast, he's a Knicks fan as well. And he lives and dies with the Knicks. So, I hear it on a regular basis.
All right. Well, before we close this out, because this was fun, man, give us one more that's like one of those like really hard, serious, like controversial statements that either you have or you've heard via your post with TikTok.
Can I go? Not before I answer that, can I just say one last thing about the Eminem thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
I hate when people who don't listen to hip hop or didn't listen to hip hop before Eminem argue about who's the best in hip hop, and they say Eminem, because you're basing it on the one person that you know.
Yeah.
Without any historical context. And that's why half the time I have to. Okay. Y'all keep it a buck. I'm guessing. So when white people say stuff or white people do stuff, if it's supposed to be beneficial for me, cool. But that doesn't make me think that you're not racist. It's going to take more than one statement, one thing that you do for us to get to a point where I trust you or that I don't.
I get
you. I told totally off topic. I told an old coworker right before the last Democratic
primary.
Yeah, the last primary, and right before COVID, we were having a conversation. She brought it to me. She started talking to me about it because we've never had a conversation about politics. And she was just, why are these people saying this and this and this? And I'm like, yeah, okay. She's cool. I tell her, I was like, I've never told anybody this, but we're cool. So I'll tell you. I think that all white people are racist to an extent. And she didn't say anything negative. She just disagreed. And I think she was just thinking about herself. Then everything happened. George Floyd, et cetera, et cetera. And I haven't seen her again. I wanted to see her again so bad so I could say, see, this is what I was talking about. This is it right here. It's all in front of us. It's laid out. Anyway.
Right. Well, I think though, to stick on that for a quick second, I think a lot of that too comes from upbringing, where you come from and things like that, because I have 100% examples in my life where white people that I know aren't racist. But I also look at it as we all have a level of racism, if you want to call it that. It's real, which in reality, it's really more bigotry than racism.
It's not racism.
It's prejudice and bigotry that people cite racism because racism is the instant automatic term that they go by.
It's false equivalency too.
Yes. Because I don't want to say that like I have white people in. No, white people are my family. I have people that are, and so I see it. And especially being on Staten Island, Staten Italy, whatever you want to call it, like this place is so diverse that I don't have personally the same hangups that somebody else would. Like you grew up in Virginia, totally different dynamic. Totally different dynamic of lifestyles and upbringings and thoughts and things like that, to where I see the racism, the bigotry and stuff from people outside of. I mean, shit. Cut Staten Island in half and I could go to the South Shore of Staten Island. I talk shit about the South Shore of Staten Island all the time. And I come from a family where my father, when he grew up on that side of Staten Island, was one of only three black families in that whole side of Staten Island. Mm-hmm. So understanding what racism and things like that look like, or people, white folks that have your side look like, I can get them stories. I point this way because my parents live right next door to me. I can point right to him and get the stories from him. He's told me stories about the job that I work now that he's worked before, where white dudes stand up like, don't you ever fucking talk to him like that again. Because if I don't beat your ass, his ass will beat you up even better than I would. You know what I'm saying? So upbringings play a lot into what you just spoke to. And, I'm sorry, quick sidebar, so.
Here's the last argument.
Yeah.
Here's the last argument people like to use when it comes to Eminem, and it's album sales and awards, and how many awards he's won, how many concerts he sold out, how many albums he sold, and that does play into it, but not as much as him being an MC or being a rapper in the game of hip hop itself. You can't go to me, oh, well, he's had the #1 song on Billboard for 15 weeks, or he's 10 times triple platinum. That's great. That means he did a good job. Because why? Because of his talent. That's how he got that. You know what I'm saying? And the people behind him who were looking for the great white hope, as you would like to call it,
right,
in hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what he was for those people.
Well, album sales shit is so subjective. Because Sauce, when you mentioned the person who said KRS-One can't rap, I used to have niggas tell me to my face that Nelly was better than KRS-One. back in that battle
During
time.
that battle.
Niggas told me Nelly why? Because Nelly sold more. And I used to tell him, get the fuck out of my face with that shit. There's no
That's
fucking
real.
way. There's no way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go back to the Eminem, but Eminem, his sales came from people a lot that didn't follow hip hop before that. Then it's not even quantifiable against somebody who has the hip hop fans, and that's it, as opposed to the crossover appeal and
Right.
a whole bunch of randos who don't like rap anyway, but they like this one guy. You know,
Like
it's like me, asking me about country music. I say I like one black guy that sings country, but I don't know any country music other than the black guy. Like my opinion has no value. It has no merit.
You're
like
exactly
saying
right.
saying Cowboy Troy is the best to ever do it. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
Cowboy Troy, but arguable. If we were to say Charlie Pride,
Well, I can't even argue it. I'd say Charlie Pride. I know who that is. I know he's black, and I know what it is. Other than that, they got me.
Right? We can say Charlie Pride. We can say Charlie Pride is the GOAT. I barely ever heard Charlie, but we know a lot of country music wouldn't be without that black man.
And it's still different. It's different.
No, that's not the same. That's not the same.
It's a little bit different.
Right, like Ed says, just because I listen to Hootie and the Blowfish sing country, don't make me a country fan.
Right.
He's right.
But
He's right.
Ed, are you going to argue with country fans that Hootie and the Blowfish is the greatest country band of all time? No, probably not.
Not at all. Not at all, man. But like I said, man, give us one more, and then we're gonna get out of here after this controversial take.
All right. Let me think of one. Well, we did Jay-Z. It was just so many people that said Jay-Z couldn't rap that it was ridiculous. We mentioned Tupac a little bit. Eminem. How about the Beastie Boys? I hate to go to a white rapper again, but white rap. But
Hootie got country bars.
If the Beastie Boys were black, they'd be the greatest hip hop band of all time.
That I will vehemently disagree with. And again, this is the difference of the Beastie Boys. The Beastie Boys were and are still punk band. They are of the birth of this hip hop culture. Now, with their quote unquote, as they call them, as rest in peace, Biz Markie called them, doo-doo rhymes, which is they were kind of just saying shit to say shit that was funny. But as they progressed and like to the Five Boroughs album, to me, phenomenal. Like their New York record, their record about New York was better than Jay-Z's New York, was better than a lot of other New York records and stuff like that, because they pay tribute to the city as a whole. Like in some, like from a ground level, you felt it more. You know what I'm saying? I would dare say from a backpacker type level, you would have felt it more. You know, that their New York song, but they are a good case for their whiteness putting them over. But I'm still a fan nonetheless. They are absolutely great, but they are great at what they did because they had their lane and they stuck in it, and people gravitated towards it, not just because they were white,
right? Because
they were good at what they did, more than their whiteness. To me,
if the Beastie Boys were black, would we have ever heard of them? You know what I'm saying?
That's a good question, though.
You know what I'm saying? Like, would they have been able to come out if they were black? Like, right. Because at that time, we heard that sound was so unique that if it was a black group, I don't think they would have got buried. They'd be like, nah, this is not the wave. This is not where the genre is going. This is not where the movement is. Sorry. Come back next time.
Russell might not have seen the marketability in a black band like that. And here is the perfect example of this. I love bringing this documentary up. Source, if you haven't seen it, Please go find it. It's called A Band Called Death. Have y'all seen that yet?
I saw that after you said it way back.
Yes. All right. Look up this documentary, A Band Called Death. It's about these brothers, the Hackney brothers, 3 black dudes who could be credited for starting punk rock music. And this is before, like, the Ramones were quote unquote credited as like that first. These brothers were before them. And to hear their music, they have an album called For the World to See. The story is phenomenal about these dudes. They got shelved and buried because the labels at the time didn't think a black punk band or a black band doing rock and roll music. The fucking irony of not doing rock, black people started rock and roll. All right, let's remember that. Black people started rock and roll. But for labels to think a black band could not succeed doing quote unquote white music of its era in the late 50s, early 60s, they were buried. They
couldn't see how to market them, Dan, and that was the big deal right there.
It was racial tensions and racism in its era.
Right.
Totally different now when you're thinking about the marketing of them.
Right.
So, I don't want to give it all away because even still with what I say now, it's not even going to do the whole story justice. They kept trying to push because one of the brothers was like steadfast, adamant. We're called Death. This is what we are. This is what we're doing. Until that brother died. Then they eventually broke off. They created a band where they started doing ska music. They started to take off doing ska. And then something happened where that part I'm not going to give away. You have to watch this movie to where they came back to prominence in the punk rock world because of a tragedy that happened where they lost everything. Kind of like what you and a show was talking about the other night. A tragedy of losing everything. Oh, you mentioned that. How y'all lost all y'all tracks.
Oh, yeah.
Something similar happened to these guys. But then they had about a certain amount of albums that went out. Very few hundred albums that went out. Somebody found it. Brought it up on a radio show. Put out the APB to find these cats. The 2 brothers that were still alive and are still alive were found. People loved what they did. And they became and finally lived out the brother who passed away's dream. But if you want to hear the music, it is called Death. The name of the band is Death, and the album is For the World to See. It's about 27 minutes. Phenomenal music. But thinking about what we was talking about, TJ, that's why that brought that to my mind, is because these cats who were the originators, we can say, of this style of music were not looked at in a certain way. That would have happened to the Beastie Boys if they were black.
What was that line in the 5 Hour Beats? He says, why they got the 4 white boys on the album cover? They didn't sing the song. And he was just like, no, because they got them on the cover because that's what sells. You know what I'm saying? And that's what the public is going to gravitate to make the label money. And you know, it's a grease the palm type of industry. You know what I'm saying? It's who you know and who you can get to play your shit on the radio on a consistent basis. And if you're not doing that, you're not going to get the publicity or the hype or get the machine behind the back to make you as successful as you could possibly be.
Right. And so, Source, before you give your point on that question you gave us, I think that explains why if Beasties were black, it might not have happened. They would have, and we know the black community would have been looking at them like, who are these goofy motherfuckers? You know what I'm saying? Like straight up and down. Like, who are these goofy fucking dudes?
I thought it was at some point during the conversations in the last week, I kind of compared them to the Fat Boys. I had never thought about it before though. Because, and I don't even know if it's the same thing, but just the fact that they were comical and had whatever point of view, which is they were fat, And then you had the Beastie Boys, and they were white. Even though they didn't rap about being white, they were white dudes just having fun at the beginning. So that was kind of.
I mean, can you see 4 black dudes singing Paul Revere? You know what I'm saying?
Bro, listen. Paul Revere was my joint. We used to hear joint on the middle school bus from basketball game. On a away bus.
Paul Revere was dope. It was dope.
Revere, and I was
man.
Every time we did that joint.
Well, I mean, and to be honest, TJ, I could say yes, because let's think about the early days in rap where these was rhyming over TV show tunes, like remixing like Dude, how many niggas hit Gilligan's Island in the 80s? You know what I'm saying?
Like they did a whole rap song about Inspector Gadget. You know what I'm saying? With the Inspector Gadget beat. You know what I'm saying? Like it was definitely different.
Now, Ed will give us the last point here. Where does third base land on this? Do they get the gas face? They do not get the gas face.
No, not at all.
Go ahead, Source. Go ahead. You look like
all I was gonna say is I can't speak negatively on third base because MC Search duetted that video, so I can't say anything negative.
God, word up. But no, but it goes back to that difference of when we were talking about Eminem. Search was in the community,
right? That's real.
Search was out there.
Listen
to Search's interviews, like his Drink Champs interview or his Questlove Supreme interview. Like Search was trying to be a 5%er, but knew his place because he was a white dude in the cipher, right. And he could be down, but he couldn't be down. And that's the difference within these when we're talking about quote unquote white MCs, which happens to be some of the most controversial, if not the most controversial things within the hip hop culture, is white people's presence in hip hop culture. People love to disrespect it, but as I gotta bring up the homie again, he loves to quote the track when they said from the white to the black, the brown, from the white to the black, the blue and the brown, the purple, brown,
brown and yellow.
Yeah, like you're talking about the whole rainbow of people. And if you do the homework on the culture itself, it came up from despair, it came up from poverty, and it came up from these communities where it was poor white people, it was poor black people, it was poor Hispanics and Latinos. Like it was, yes, blacks and Latinos started this shit by way of the creation of the elements and things like that. But when you're bringing in graffiti as a part of it, a lot of white folks was at the birth of. When I mentioned Scene, that man is whiter than white. You know what I'm saying? Like when you bring up some of that now, yes, some of the early MCs, no, they didn't really get to prominence till the Beastie Boys, yes, but they've always been within this culture. I mean, even from the DJ element, and you bring up the DMC competition. A lot of white dudes was in them DMC competitions.
Sure.
A lot.
I watched a white dude fucking scratch reel-to-reel tapes in a DMC competition.
Wow.
Look that shit up. You know what I'm saying? Like, so so it's bad, but Search gets a pass. Prime Minister Pete, there's an argument within that. And people thought he was the nicest out of there. No fucking way.
Right, yeah. Well, I was just gonna mention that in the comments, in the original comments, I think maybe 2 people said, or at least one person said strongly, I am not comfortable with white people having an opinion on hip hop. Then in a different conversation, a podcast I had done after the post, but before, it kind of took off. A guy was saying, well, hip hop is not really black, it's everybody. And people in the comments were like, you can't take hip hop away from black people because it's black culture. So there's an argument both ways. I think there's an argument both ways.
No, there is an argument both ways. And hip hop culture is black culture, but hip hop culture has kind of, it goes back to how people always say black people are the most inclusive people in the world. It's true to a point, but hip hop culture has always been inclusive. It's just that want and need to have something for ourselves is what comes into play. And with all due respect, we can play that card. But if you really, and that's the thing, like when you talk, I forgot what point we made earlier. Oh, when you made the point about people saying Eminem is the best to ever do it, but they only started listening since Eminem. If you don't go back and do your homework, do your research on these things, then you're playing yourself. You're playing yourself. You're fooling yourself. You're actually hurting yourself from doing the actual knowledge on these things that you claim to live and love. You got to do the background. It's like us being Eagles fans, right? Us being Eagles fans and motherfuckers saying, "Oh, y'all finally won a championship." No, we won championships before we were born in the 60s.
Chuck Bednarik.
We won a championship with the fucking Pittsburgh Steelers as the Steagles. I would have never knew that if I didn't do homework.
Right.
I didn't live it, but you still got to have the want and the want to do the knowledge on what you love.
Agreed.
And going back into that, like you saying, like white people in the culture, you can just look at directly at fashion because it was all Hilfiger and Polo for a minute. And then we got the FUBUs, then we got the Fat Farms, then we got the cross colors and stuff like that. So we did jump in there. You know what I'm saying? It's
or you bring it to
Jabot is not a black. Jabot is not a black person. You know what I'm saying?
When you bring it to today, and people are still on Louis. These are European white-owned brands that niggas prop up till this day, or do the TI and say we're not gonna wear you for 3 months, and then be back in them in a month and a half later. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, take all this controversy y'all want, people. We're just trying to give y'all facts with our opinions mixed with opinions. But it's a lot of facts and a lot of what we say if you go do the homework and do the research, man. But I'm going to go do more homework on this brother's group, Grown Folks. I got to listen to that joint now that you let us know, man. And
I appreciate it. Hey, look, you got to look up Grown Folks Child's Play because there's so many things that say grown folks in the world that a million different things will come up. Like every time, if you do anything with music, grown folks music, grown folks, whatever, it's a million things. And there's other groups probably called grown folks that have rapped. So Grown Folks Child's Play is the only thing that's readily available from us.
Right. Well, like you said, I'm doing my homework on y'all this week. You know, you're more than welcome to come back at any time, man. At any single time, man. You're a dope brother. Good brother.
Thanks for coming on too.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, and you know, and again, thank you for being the inspiration for this week's conversation, man. So
I appreciate that.
Let the people know where we could find you, and don't be afraid to reach out because we could collaborate at any time, you know.
Word. Well, you can find me on Instagram at Source, of course, and same on TikTok. I used to say Twitter. I don't even say Twitter anymore because I don't even go to Twitter unless it's to verify something happened. Look, my Twitter got hacked. My Twitter got hacked before Demarius's passing. So when I saw the story in my sports group, it was from a random website. I was like, let me go find out the truth. I tried to go to Twitter. I was like, dang, it got hacked. I can't even get to it. So I had to go look elsewhere to find my information. But anyway, Instagram and TikTok. And you can follow Source and Company on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc.
Gotcha. Well, you got a new fan here. And like I said,
Definitely.
man, we made this connection here. You can reach out to me at any time. Reach out to TJ. You know, now we good here. We good here unless you fuck it up. That's just how I roll. We good here unless you fuck it up. But it's funny you said that about Twitter because I say fuck Twitter at the end of every episode. It's the most hateful place on the internet, in my opinion. But y'all know what to do. I'll keep mine short and sweet. Hit that QR code in the top corner. Get everything starting 5. From the TikTok to the Instagram and all of that shit. TJ.
Yo, shout out to you, Source. Thanks for coming on and being the inspiration for the show again. Appreciate it. Love your insight and knowledge of all things hip hop and sports. That was really great today. Shout out to all the peoples in the comments participating. Ed, Jamal, you guys, love you guys. Dan, thanks for putting together another great show, another great topic this week. And everybody stay safe and, enjoy the holidays coming up.
Word up. And we got a year-end show coming soon. Whether I will debate, me and TJ will decipher if it's going to be next week or the week after. We're not going to do it after Christmas. We might just take that week off leading into the new year. So if you want to be a part of the year-end show, y'all know what to do. Hit us up. Source, you're welcome. Definitely welcome back for the year-end show where we just recap everything. We have a big, huge party of people when we all just chop it up. It gets coordinated nicely. Not everybody steps on each other's toes like you hear on other shows, things like that, because I don't play that type of shit. But if you're down to come on when we do the year-end show, that's coming soon. So for everybody here, peace, and we'll see y'all next week.
Peace. Shout out to Disabled Planet.